All good stuff. All right, got it.
Great. All right. We're all set.
All right. Again, it's an honor to be back and talk to everybody on behalf of our office. You know, the Attorney General's office is just it's one thing after another, and it's nonstop. And like I said a few minutes ago, it's an all-out blitz on everyday people. It's not just businesses, and in some areas, it's the 55 or the 60 and over crowd, but in general, it's everybody.
Hmm.
And some of the things we're going to talk about here, I don't even want to. I'm not even going to use a PowerPoint. I'm just going to talk. We're just going to have a flat out discussion today. How about we do that?
That's great.
So I want to hear from you. Answer as best I can. I always tell you to contact. You're in Portland, State Attorney General's office out there. We pretty much work the same way. Any of the issues that you're having, when you need to address it to the Attorney General's office, please do so. That's what their office is for. Each state has an attorney. I don't know if most people know this, but each state has minimum 3 branches of government. You got a governor to run it. You got a state treasurer to pay the state bills, and then you got an attorney general to look out for the legal interests of the state. That's in every state, all 50 states, 5 U.S. territories: Puerto Rico, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoan Islands, and U.S. Virgin Islands. So you got 55 attorney generals. So you have that. You have access to the attorney general's office out there the way you would have it here. That's the good news. Where do I begin?
First, before you do, sir,
Yes.
Sue, on my screen,
Yeah.
I mean, I can see you 4 people, but
Yeah.
it says this meeting is being recorded and it
Yes.
has this big thing in the middle. Can I do anything about
Yeah.
get rid
You
of that?
should be able to tap that off. Just tap on it and it'll go away. I just want
Tap
you to
on got
acknowledge.
it.
Pardon? I got it. Got it.
Great.
Thanks.
Great.
Hey,
Thanks.
see, you're a tech pro. You just didn't know
Yes.
it.
Just a fair
Yeah.
disclosure that
Oh,
we're
boy.
everything you're
That's
saying
funny.
is getting
Tech pro.
recorded.
That's really funny. Go ahead.
No,
Great.
but,
Thanks for
one thing I do want to I want to start off with this. Not so much technology, but in a way it is. I don't know if you've heard about this lately. The TikTok Kia boys. Have you heard about that?
Mm-mm.
These
Oh,
are
yes.
thieves,
They're
car
stealing the
thieves.
Kias.
Kias and Hyundais.
Oh,
Yes,
They're
yeah.
going
yes.
in with USB cables, and because of the nature of the wiring in the arm in the steering column, they have manipulated it. So just to let you know, Kias and Hyundais are hot on the list to be stolen. The TikTok Kia boys, they have TikTok videos how to do it, how
How
to
to do
steal
it.
a Kia. It's insane. So Kia has already issued an alert, and they're giving out at no cost arms that go across the clubs that go across the
Mhm.
steering column. So just in case anybody, the steering wheel, just in case you know anybody.
We stayed at a hotel recently that had a sign in the parking lot that said exactly what you're saying. If you have one of those cars, come to the desk and we'll give you something to keep your car safe.
The key is in what else? What's the other car?
Hyundais.
Hyundais.
Hondas. Okay, I got
Hyundais,
you.
yeah.
Yep.
Hyundais, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Those are
That's
hot
what
on the
I
list.
have.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I've
So
read that those arms can be broken, Jerry.
they can. I'm look. I don't pretend to, just say one thing and it's just like that's the solution. You take a hacksaw, it can go on through one of those in
Right.
like 5 seconds.
But that would maybe deter someone from your vehicle
And
to
that's
move on to someone else's.
it is, and because not everybody walks around with a hacksaw, but
Right.
to the thieves, they do know this. So I just want to let you know, be aware.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
they can go through an arm.
Okay.
Having said that, so many other scams that are out there, and what we are experiencing now going forward. Look, we're about to begin the holiday season soon, so I'm going to start with I'm going to dump into the deep end of the pool here. Okay, the world of AI and Chat GPT. Okay, let's just jump into that pool right now. That world is not going anywhere. Economies are starting to are based their finances off of that technology. And basically, if you don't know what AI or Chat GPT is, It's computer language that learns from us initially, and then it keeps learning on its own. It's called chatbots or chat robots. And basically, this computer language, you tell it to do something, it will expand and do what you want within less than a millisecond. It'll create what you want it to create, documentation and so forth, or execute an action for you. Then it will go out and keep learning and keep learning and keep learning. Or as we say in tech, learn all that is learnable. My background is information system management with a concentration in application development. I saw this stuff coming 25 years ago.
Mm.
And there are some people who talk about, oh yeah, the Terminator and all like that. I'm like, it's pretty much here now. That technology, Skynet is here. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but the technology has some extremely good values to it. But again, how people are going to be using this stuff in terms of crime, it's spreading like wildfire right now. The same, remember how social media spread like wildfire? And next thing you know, everybody was on Instagram, everybody was on Facebook, everybody was on MySpace at first, abandoned that for Facebook, and then it just took off. And then Twitter, it just took off like wildfire, spread like wildfire. This is already industries. Google Bard, theirs is about to come out. They've already got the beta version. I don't know, I'm a beta version tester. So Google Bard is already out. Chat GPT, Open Chat, Open AI. Microsoft is going to come out with their version. Apple is going to come out with their version. Expedia is already implementing it into their services so that if you want to plan a trip, you can just say, hey, trip to Paris, 4-star hotel, all inclusive. No more than 10 miles from the airport, just put in some other factors, click, your trip is ready, and it takes in less than a second to do it. The point I'm trying to make with this stuff is how it's being used right now for manipulation. There have been criminals out there that have already sent messages to families, voice messages, and it's called voice clones or deep fakes. So you fake somebody out so deep, they actually think that they were talking to a relative or to the person who they know. And the way it works is this voice, who sounds like a relative of ours, son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, brother, sister, whoever, sounds like it's somebody who we know. This individual tells us that they're in trouble, they're in dire straits, they're hurt, or they just need to borrow money. They need to borrow a few $100 or a few $1,000. Could you wire it to them? Could you cash app it to them? Something like that. And you think you're talking to the real person.
Because it sounds just like the real person.
Yeah. And this is called a deep fake.
Mm.
The fake is just that deep.
Makes you think, what news can you really trust now? What sources can you trust? Because so much can be manipulated.
Lady out in California, she got a message from her daughter that she was kidnapped and they wanted $11,000. And she gave the kidnappers $11,000. Other folks, a guy in Washington, D.C., he's out of a couple of thousand. Another person in Texas, they're out of $1,000. These type of scams and frauds where people are going to be calling, people are going to pretending, hey, listen, there's some dire strait. Hey, listen, you got a problem with your account. You got a problem with your bank. You got a problem with this. You got a problem with that. Strongly advise, if you get any kind of phone calls like that, okay, let me call my bank. Let me call the bank and ensure. Do not call, oh, sure, here, we'll give you the number. Do not ever do that. Call the bank directly. I'm going to call my bank. I'm going to get this straightened out, or even take a visit. I got a phone call like that, and I probably told you last time, for $1. And I went to the bank, and it really was my bank. They really did. Somebody in Grafton, North Dakota, tried to infiltrate my account. And they issued me a new debit card, new numbers, new pen, new everything.
Yeah.
This stuff is happening. This is called, we are now in a world where, you just said it, you don't know what to trust. We're getting to a point where, I'm just going to be honest, it's going to get to a point where we really don't know, literally news-wise, people-wise, what do we trust?
Right, anymore? Right, because it looks real, but is it?
Yeah. Text messages that you get. You know how
Right.
many messages I get from FedEx and from Amazon telling me my
Right.
package has been delivered?
Yep. Which you never
And
ordered. Yes.
yeah, I never ordered anything.
Right.
Or I get all these messages on emails. I'm sorry, emails I get. And they're telling me, hey, listen, this is Macy's, and I've won this. You know how many iPads I've won?
No.
How many
So,
of you?
so the learning is probably don't react immediately. Take a
Don't
breath,
click on anything.
step back, look
Yes.
into it. If
You-
they're urgent, it's probably not legitimate.
And it's good that we have. I love when the smaller the group like this, the more of a round table, like a kitchen
Right.
table kind of conversation we can have. But again, you're right. Those kind of messages, we are urging the public. Text messages, do not click on the link inside of it. Hey, click here to respond. Hey, click here to go. Don't click on any of this stuff.
Mhm.
Emails, delete them. Just delete these messages.
Right.
I've
Right.
gotten
But I'd say more than delete them, send them to spam, like the way that they let you
yeah, send them to spam.
tag them as junk.
Get rid of that stuff. But do not keep it on your phone. I'm trying to look for
Right.
one I got recently here, because boy, do I get so many of these a day. It is hilarious. I mean, they look like they're coming from Apple or Bank of America
Right.
or from so many different companies. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, no, that's fake, no, that's fake, no, that's fake. And it's just
Right. Right.
Mhm.
it's an all-out blitz.
Mhm. Well, that's where it got me last week, because normally I do just what
Yeah.
you say. When I see something, I think, oh, what is, and I just delete, delete, delete. But this
Right.
one, it was like they knew me and they knew that my subscription had just expired. So when I saw that thing that with the Apple logo and everything, and it said, your Apple TV subscription has just expired, I thought, yeah,
You're
that's
right.
me.
Yeah.
And
And then went on to say, we're going to offer you a 90-day free extension. I thought, wow, that's a
Right.
nice thing. And I went ahead. I didn't even bother looking to see the email address. I was really kicking myself after that happened. But
So what,
the
so what
thing
did you do,
that
Sandy?
well, what I did, Blondie, unfortunately, I entered my credit card information because it said, we're asking for your credit card information. It will not be used. I entered my credit card information, and then I hit submit. I got this response saying the item you ordered is not in stock, which was nonsense response. And then I got the Chase fraud alert, and they had to cancel my card. But what I wanted to communicate is, what was different about that particular case was it was almost like whoever sent it knew me. They said,
Yeah.
your subscription has just expired. And that was true. So that's why I hadn't
Right.
just deleted the thing.
Sure.
let
Wow.
me add some dialogue to that, okay? When it comes to this kind of fraud and scams, how are they getting our information nowadays? It could have been a advertisement we clicked on. It could have been a message that we looked at. It could have been 100 different ways. Everybody thinks, oh, well, they hacked my phone. No. The hack is a link. The hack is a Facebook message. The hack is an app we probably downloaded, and it's from this company, and it shared general information about you, and then it went into a computer, and that system just started to basically say, okay, it looked up a profile of you online, and then next thing you know, okay, this person lives in this area or in this age group, okay, and then it went on and on and on, and then it started to look up various things about you that are probably easy to list out online, not necessarily like something medical, but something like you said, like a subscription to something that's probably open source. There it is. We live in a world of shared information with over 21,000 satellites in the sky. That is how all this information is being shared. 21,000 satellites. I just checked it last week. 21,000, just over 21,000 satellites in the sky. Everybody's got one. So, ma'am, the good news is that your bank was able to look out for you. They were able to cancel that. They were able to issue you a new card. Banks are on massive 24-hour. We don't close. The lights are on 24 hours a
Yeah.
day. They are on duty. Okay,
Good
that's
thing.
good. The financial sector, they have to be, or they will be out of business within hours. If they're not on, either you do that or you're out of business within hours. So cyber attacks are continuously happening. It's only going to get more widespread. But the good news is what we can do as far as protecting ourselves, a lot of basic things like this. Okay, when it comes to our devices, when it comes to our information that comes in our mail, shredding or burning it if we don't want it anymore. We don't need it. Not giving out our information when somebody readily ask. Going into this holiday season that's coming, we really got to be especially careful. Even on our phone, look, I know we got a lot of features on our phone to have location services turned on. If you don't want those services turned on or microphones are listening to you, especially in like iPhones, you can turn that stuff off. I tell people all the time how to see if you got an iPhone, Samsung has the same features. I don't know Samsung's procedure, but I actually did read it about 5 months ago. But in iPhone, to turn off those features that are listening to us, that's simply found in settings, privacy and security. And in privacy and security, you'll see where it says microphone. And you can look and see what apps are readily listening to us. Right now, I turned it on earlier. Facebook it has a microphone turned on. And there are more out here. There's a lot I've turned off. I mean, I got an app out here. I mean, I'll just share something personal. I got an app that says the perfect drink because I love to make the perfect martini. But I don't need this app listening to me all the time. So it's turned off. I'm like, I don't need that. So that's just a personal app. There are a lot of apps we like for personal use that these apps are on. They are listening to us. And the industry sells it, oh, it only listens to you while you're giving it a command. That's not true. These apps are listening for trigger words, trigger terms, just like Echo and Google Home, or what's the other one? There's a few of them out there, but those assistants.
Apple has one.
Yeah, Google Home and Apple has theirs. Those assistants, they're always listening to us.
Right, which makes them very useful, but also you have to be careful.
Yeah, because they're also used for marketing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, targeted marketing. My friend down, and I might have shared it, my friend down in Dallastown school district, him and his wife are home talking about refrigerators. He's got one of those Google Home. He goes to work the next day. What does he get on his computer? Bombarded with refrigerator advertisements from Best Buy. Now, how did it know to send him all those advertisements? And Lowe's and Home Depot.
Right. It's not like he asked the Google Home, give me information. It was just listening.
Yeah, he's talking to his wife. He said, eventually we got to get a new refrigerator. We need a new refrigerator for the house. Yeah. Okay, that was the end of the conversation. You move on. The next day, here comes all these advertisements. The man told me this. And I'm like, and I said, what do you have in your house? And he told me what he had. So, folks, in the world we're in right now.
So how does that work? I'm pretty ignorant about how that would even work.
Good, let's talk. Sure.
So the app hears the person say, what do you think about getting a new refrigerator? I might want one. And then what happens?
What's the back end? Right.
Okay, sure. The back end. You must be in business. I like that back end talk. I like that. On the back end talk of it, basically what happens next? What happens okay, I've received, now I must execute with it. So basically that information is shared. It is shared inside of a database. It's shared. The sharing process is happening in milliseconds. This stuff is happening so fast, we can't blink our eyes to it, but it's happening very readily. So wherever Apple is partnered with, or whatever company they own, again, they share that information and it gets shared again, and it comes out getting shared on the back end and shared to someone who has access to that information, Home Depot or Lowe's or Target or whoever sells refrigerators.
Whoever's paying for it.
Whoever's paying for that, and who is going to need that information or who could use that information to target market that person for a refrigerator or for an appliance or for a car or a computer or for clothing or for whatever. That's the way the world works now. Targeted marketing.
Mhm.
It didn't send him advertisements on a Porsche. It didn't send him advertisements on a, I don't know, on a sofa. It specifically sent him advertisements on on refrigerators.
What he
How
needs.
did it know? What do you need? And
Right.
why? Because that was discussed.
Right.
I imagine if he had discussed a Porsche or I don't know, a Stingray Corvette, it might have sent him advertisements on it. But that's what happened.
Mhm.
Going forward
Question.
in this holiday season, and please feel free, everybody. This is a round table. This is a kitchen dinner discussion, so to speak. Going forward in this holiday season, our wallets and our purses, it'd be a good idea to make sure that those are RFID compliant, meaning that they have the
What is RFID?
radio frequency ID.
Okay.
And basically, she's got hers. Is that a card?
From our last talk, I went and bought some.
Yeah. You are the best. You are the best. They have those. Oh, I got some good news for you too, coming out in a second here. But basically, is that the card that you have right there? Or is that a
Yes.
sleeve?
Oh, that's a card.
That's a card.
Yeah.
That card emits a signal so that no outside signals can get close to her credit cards.
My wallet.
And
Yeah.
that's that's the best place to have her. Her cards are right there, and bam.
But Sue, where did you get it? How did you get it?
Amazon. 4 for
Amazon.
$10.
Yeah. You buy a
Here we
pack of
go.
them. Wasn't
Okay.
it a pack of 3?
A pack of 4 is what I got.
A
Really?
pack of 4, yeah.
And how much
Hey,
did
you
it
know what?
cost?
$10.
There you go,
Okay.
folks. We had that discussion last time,
Yep.
so I'm not going to rehash it. But I just want to just as a reminder. Since then, buddy of mine who is a software engineer, we had a discussion on where are mine's at? Give me 1 second. There's something I want to get, and I want to show you all. And the best way to do that, here it is. Best way to do that is to literally show you. Here we go. Car keys.
Okay.
All right. Friend of mine. We work out at Planet Fitness together. He's a software engineer. He drives a Tesla.
I go to Fitness.
And I'm just like, it's a beautiful vehicle. So, we both we arrived at the gym usually around the same time. So we get out the car, we shake hands, we start talking football, and then next thing you know, I say, hey, I got a question for you. How easy is it for somebody with all the technology that's on cars nowadays? How easy is it for somebody to hack your car? And he said, it's not really hard at all. In my world, when I get a straight answer, sometimes it's kind of like freaky. I'm like, okay,
Really?
okay, let's elaborate on that. So I said, let's go through a scenario here, and you fill in the gaps. He said, okay. Now we haven't even reached where we check in yet. We are still in the lobby because the conversation started to get into a very interesting level. I said, so I've got a key fob. Most people do. I said, okay, so somebody wants to break into my car. What's the easiest point of entry is to basically clone the key. He said, right. He said, right. I said, or in this day and age, he said, mirror it. I said, okay, mirror the key. So they're if you're in like a parking lot, like Target, Walmart, something like that, Wegmans or something like that, you can have a good bit of people coming and going. You're going into the store. So they're not too far behind you. And they've got a scanner and basically a scanner
for your
key. And they can basically pick up the signal because your key emits a signal. That's how when you walk up to your car, it automatically opens it up.
Yep.
So it's just like a credit card, only this one has a bigger, longer signal. So they can be within, I said, let's just say 10 feet. He said, yeah, that's about right. And they got a scanner. And what do? He said, well, basically they replicate, the scanner picks up the signal. It clones the signal. So now the scanner has the signal. So then when they walk up to the car with their scanner, the scanner assumes it's the key. So the scanner opens the car.
Wow.
And I said, and that's the world we live in. He said, yeah. Now he's a software engineer. And I'm an IT guy, so we have this meeting of the minds. And I said, so what would be a solution to all this? He said, two-tier authentication would probably be the best bet. Is
Right.
that out there? He said, no. For keys? I said, no. Well, I said, is that out there for keys? He said, no, not yet.
Right.
And I said, well, isn't this just a barrel of monkeys? And I said, so my next solution is to protect the key itself,
Right.
protect the signal. So now you can now buy pouches that will protect the key.
For the key, like you
Yes.
want it off when you get to the car, but you want it on when you walk away. Is that correct or no?
Yeah,
So
you
you
put
have
the
to have
pouch,
a-
you put it in the pouch. It is basically, you know how you have like a sleeve for a credit card?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now imagine a sleeve for a key. 2 days ago, and I literally Saturday night, I'm here up until 2 o'clock in the morning in my house, going over, looking at all of these different all these different pouches, and you name it. They've got basically one size fits any key. And then you've got like Mazda has their own, Mercedes has their own, people had them. Then you can go out there again. Welcome to the world of, we're just talking about protecting credit cards,
Right. You can do it
protecting
for
our keys.
really. Is that
Because-
what yours is that on your key now?
No.
Being held
This
up?
is my,
Okay.
no, I literally just stumbled into the discussion about a week and a half, going on 2 weeks ago, probably about 2
Okay.
weeks ago. So now that's what I have to go out and get as well.
Okay.
How
Do
many
we
keys
buy
do
it
I
on
got?
Amazon?
Yes, that's where I was at. I did a Google. It's not just in Amazon. There's
Yeah.
they're actually sold, believe it or not, there's some stores that actually sell it.
Again,
Really?
I
Wow.
kid you not. This is the kind of stuff I told you before. My job is to project what, if there's technology out there. The first thing I'm doing now is and I've been doing this all my career, I look for a security hole. What security hole? That's a great piece of technology. Great, you're selling me on the creature features of it. It works like a charm. It is probably the best thing since sliced bread or since pants pockets. That's great. Okay, now, having said that, where can this thing go? Where is the weakest point of entry on this? It's like any engineer will tell you. You know, you want to see a building fall or a dam burst open. All it takes is one weak link, one weak spot, and the whole thing comes crashing down. So what's the weak spot in that technology where it can basically do me no good or lost my and signal access? So same thing with our key fobs now, folks. I'm one of those people when it comes to technology, and again, law enforcement and technology, crime, and technology intersect. So again, I have to talk to you about protection. And from our office standpoint, things like this are the things we're discussing with people out here. I already said it, because our cars are now our cell phones. And I said this probably before, our cars are our biggest sources of information. Our profiles are on our cars.
Right. You talked last time about renting a car and making sure your stuff is off, and I've been very careful about that.
Absolutely.
So what do you mean by your stuff being off?
If you connect your phone to a rental car so you can make
okay.
or do a map,
okay,
make sure you delete that profile before you turn the car in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called sanitizing.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you have anything
You can
else?
leave that door open if the sun's coming in. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, please. This is round table, and I'm in my zone right here. Okay, I'm shooting all threes here. So, but again, it's one of those deals when it comes to technology now. And again, I talked about last time from sanitizing material. Now it's the key fob that needs to be protected with a cover, an RFID cover over our key fob. Welcome to the world of cloning key fobs. And because the last time when I discuss anything, if there's something I feel as if, what else could I have discussed with that? It's something's going to swirl in my head. That's just the way my head is wired. So when I'm talking to him about his Tesla, that was that element that was swirling. Yeah. And I'm just like, Scott, let me ask you something. And he's like, yeah, sure. So we're standing there. And again, folks, I kid you not, 20 minutes and we still haven't checked in.
Still
They
talking.
all know us at Planet Fitness. They all know us, so we're all just like my buddies, at the folks at the front counter. They could care less. They just saw us two guys having a discussion.
Right.
We both got our key fobs out, and we're both discussing security plugs and protection.
Yeah.
But the man is literally telling me it's not hard to hack
Yeah.
a Tesla, and I'm looking at him like,
Wow.
that's an expensive vehicle.
I also wondered, especially with a Tesla, where it's all technology to run that car. Can bad actors or countries, if they hack into the infrastructure of the electrical grid or something, can they then control your car? Or am I like totally off the wall?
Let's talk about the brain of Tesla. I know where
Yeah.
you're going with this. If they hack Tesla's mainframe,
Okay.
Tesla's database, could they access your vehicle?
Your car. Yeah.
Your car, in terms of information or in terms of control?
Controlling the car, so all of a sudden you don't have control anymore when you're driving it.
To a degree, yes.
Wow.
The answer to that question is yes.
It's possible. Sure.
It's possible, yes. More to the point, they would be, if I had to guess, like I said it before and I'll say it again, this whole thing bottom line boils down to in most cases, financial money. So basically now they're going to look at your profile. They're going to try to get every milk and cranny information out of that vehicle about each individual. I can steal 10 million records worldwide on these individuals, their profiles, where they work, their driver's license, because everything's on that freaking car. Their emails, text messages, everything they put in there. And then I can do I can create a program, and this isn't going to be hard to do, that's going to data mine it and look for any kind of numeric values that have a financial attachment or tag to them. That's not going to be hard to do. So the answer to that question, because that car is so far advanced and sophisticated, they got to protect or have encrypted, and they got to have things. But then that's what I was asking them: how secure is it?
Yeah.
And as a software engineer, for him to say that to me, and I'm looking at the man, and my mouth gaped, and I felt it gape. I'm like, because again, it's almost a scary thing. Like this car costs like $120,000, $130,000, and you're telling me it's not hard to hack? No, not really.
Wow.
Which tells me he already knew. Plus, there were some other things about the vehicle. A lot about it he liked, but in the winter months, he didn't like it because it's just not a practical car for the cold. It gets drained quicker. So those were the things he didn't like. So we had that discussion. I know we're going off a little bit on vehicles here, but again, I'm going back to that discussion of vehicles with the keys.
Wow.
Because again, vehicles, and I said it before, they are so exposed because again, we have put so much information on them.
Wow.
It's a cell phone on wheels.
Yeah.
It really is. So that's one of the reasons why I literally have such I like to have that kind of a discussion with people regarding technology and vehicles nowadays. And I've been doing more and more research, staying up. And that's why I was up the other night looking at, everybody thinks it needs to be like there's this complex, and there is to a degree, layers of complexity to hacking. Okay. Then it could boil down to something so simple. It just, the higher minds are looking up. Meanwhile, down here, just a simple signal through a key fob let somebody in the back door. And all the PhDs and all the master's degrees and all the high-end techs, they will look and just go, well, hell's bells, I didn't think of that. And it's just like, that's why they did it. Because you were looking up here at all the sophisticated ways. Headphones are the same thing. The simplicity of going backdooring your way through a phone or a device by piggybacking or bluejacking a headphone. And that's how malware and the different kind of programs sometimes come through, and they're able to hack through. They're doing it through headphones. I know they are. I've researched this stuff for 5 years. Wow. Bluejacking. You can feel free to always Google these terms. I like to make people a little bit more lettered to technology. When I leave a discussion with terms, blue jacking, like a bluebird, the word blue and then jacking. Right after that, it is hijacking, but you're doing it through headphones or through Bluetooth technology. So you are blue jacking.
Hmm.
That's what I like to leave people. I like to have those discussions. Please, I've done a lot of talking. Really, wow, half hour is gone already. Can you believe that? Talk to me. Tell me anything that's hit your radar. Anything you want to. What's happened since the last time we talked?
Right.
Well, I'm
Let's have at
curious
it.
about something. I was under the impression that Tesla had such a superior security system. I live here in Portland, Oregon, in a very urban area. We only have on-street parking. We don't have garages or driveways or
Okay.
anything. So the only car that has not been broken into in the last couple years on our block is my neighbor's Tesla. And I was under the impression that's because it takes a video of what's going on within a certain distance of the car. So
Sure.
anybody that even approaches it to smash a window or something would be videoed. So that's why people don't even bother with the Tesla. They break into all the rest of us. But now what I'm understanding you say is with this cloning of the key fob, that would even override the security system on that Tesla. Because I guess if somebody's got the key fob, it appears to be legitimate that they're getting in the car, right?
Infiltration and hacking aren't always the same thing. With what you're talking about with the somebody breaking into the Tesla, they could break into that car all they want. They could smash the window, but if they don't have the wherewithal or have the technology or the know-how to start that car up because it doesn't have this right here within eyesight of it, or it's not been turned on, it doesn't matter. If they don't know how to hack that car to turn it on, it doesn't matter. And see, that's where it comes. That's what we're talking about, right? The other side of that, let me just put it this way, the other side of that, stealing the information and hacking like they're doing the Kias and the Hyundais right now. I got upset when I watched the news story and they said the reason why they were able to hack the Hyundais and the Kias was because of a design flaw in the steering column. That's crap. So let me get this straight. How could they have predicted? Who knew that somebody would use a USB cable to go inside their car? I'm like, give these people a break. That's crap with that newscaster. You know, sometimes stuff like that just gets my blood boiling because I'm just like, no, wait a minute. Don't sit here and tell me that well, we gotta make sure that somebody doesn't take headphones and be able to hack our car. No. And it's the same thing with all manufacturers out here trying to anticipate 200 million different scenarios for somebody getting in the car. Tesla has done a really good job of the technology as far as that technology being able to give a driver information that they didn't have access to before. Tesla has done a phenomenal job with that. I have been in several Teslas. I've been driven in two of them. The speed of it, each wheel has its own engine basically. The cars are phenomenal. They are coming down in terms of time that it takes to charge the car. That's one of the bigger enemies of the vehicle currently right now. It's like 25 to 30 minutes to charge it. Once that thing gets down into the 5 to 10 minute range, they're not there yet, but they are come down into like roughly 22 minutes. Once they come down in the 5 to 10 minute range, it's going to be a whole new world for all vehicles. Matter of fact, Mercedes is already trying to lead that charge as well. They are incredible vehicles in terms of information access right there. And again, with chat and open chat and chat GPT and chatbot, please remember that term, chatbot. But in terms of just like a vehicle, like if you leave like a package on the seat of it or something like that, like any other vehicle, somebody could crack a window, go inside of it, unlock a door. It's no different than any other vehicle. I just want to make sure I give you like a clear answer. And sometimes it takes a couple of minutes for me to get there, but I just want to make sure I give you a clear answer. Chatbots which are going to give us access to more and more information, which is what these Teslas have. Mercedes, you know, I tell people this from time to time. I said, just, you want to have some fun here? Go out to a car dealership. Just take a field trip out to a car dealership, and I'd advise you to take one to like Mercedes or BMW, because they are industry leaders. And Honda's really good too. Don't get me wrong, Honda's not bad, but but Mercedes and BMW, they're industry leaders. And take a look at the technology in their car. Just ask them to start it up. Hey, you know, I just want to take a look at this. You know, just you're browsing, and ask them to start it up. You're going to see some things that are, like I said, that mouth gate. You're going to have that moment. The vehicles are extremely expensive and technology-wise artifacts.
Mm-hmm. They're more
And
like computers, aren't they? Yeah.
They are. And we are getting more and more into, you know, the world is running with this stuff now. Mm-hmm. It's not walking, it's running. It's beyond running. I mean, it's just a full-blown marathon sprint to the finish line, which never comes.
Yeah, right. It just keeps upgrading. Yeah.
So what we advise people to do in our office is, again, several things. Come to us, first of all, or to your state legislature, get notifications. Ask your state legislator. We do. You can get updates on the latest scams and the latest frauds, the latest know-hows. You can go to our office and sign up for notifications, attorneygeneral.gov. State representatives in your area, you can do it with them as well. Your local police are going to have stuff at the local level, what crimes are being happening out here, local scams. They're going to have things county-wide. Their job is to focus more on the district they're in and the county they're in. Our job is to focus bigger. Your state legislator, their focus is going to more likely be aligned with the state and national. Same with ours. Mm. Some things the local police are going to be with too. I'm constantly working with Cumberland County, Dauphin County, Derry Township, and these folks around here. Okay, what do you guys got? What's the latest and greatest? Mm-hmm. Brian Roach, his brother, if you know Brian Roach from WGAL, his brother is the assistant chief of police for Derry Township. So that's, you know, it's a good source of information for me.
I'm a real novice at this. When you say, what's a chat box?
Sure. It is machine language, computer language. It's a computer, basically, when you say something to it. And let's just say you say, for example, okay, I have these 6 items in my refrigerator and in my cabinet. I want to make something to eat with. And you plug those 6 items and you say those 6 items to that, whether you talk it out or you type it out, okay, into a chat box. It is going to come back with multiple recipes for those 6 items.
Okay.
So these things mostly live in your browser, right? Safari, Chrome, whatever your browser is. It's not an independent thing, although you could use your Alexa or your Google Home or...
That's the other one, Alexa. Thank you. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. Yes, and let me keep going with your yes.
Okay.
They live in your browser.
Yep.
But they have expanded.
Okay,
into their own, and this is going to kind of sound weird, into their own universe. But now they are creating new browser informations. Yes, they have created a new universe out there. It's still the internet, but it's a different version of it. And that is what ChatGPT and that is what chatbot. They are learning off of themselves and growing.
Right.
It's called
but they're a web address in your browser.
Yes, they are still.
That's how you get to them. And once you get into them,
or you download the app.
Yes.
Or you download the app. But yes, but to her. So let's just say she doesn't. Let's just say you're not an app person, and
you can
everybody
say that.
has their name. Yeah. Okay. Are you an app person?
No.
Okay, so let's just say, okay, so then let's just say, okay, so Susan said, you know, you go into a web browser. Okay, so let's just say you go into ChatGPT, OpenAI, or something. Let's just say you go into a chatbot, okay, online, and you put in there 6 items for a recipe, and you want to know what kind of a recipe you could get based on these 6 items. Now, I have no doubt you are a skilled chef in the kitchen. I have no doubt you are a Gordon Ramsay or whoever else out here. I'm sorry, I only know one person's name. I'm sorry. But Julia Childs, I think that was the name I heard.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no doubt you are a talented cook. But these things can think faster than you and I could ever imagine and come up with scenarios that it would take us minutes, hours, or even days to get to. It will do it within less than half of a second.
Okay.
So this kind of computer language, or I'm just going to leave it there, this kind of computer language that's out there, it's designed to keep going.
Right. It's like talking to a person more than asking Google a question. It's more conversational.
And to go on along the lines with that, Google will be reconfigured and reinvented within the next 16, 17 months. We'll be using a different version of Google.
Yeah.
Right now, the way we use Google is we type in what we're looking for. You type in a term, you type in, how do I do this? How do I fix a stereo? What have you? We will be using in the future. It'll be more immersive. And that's
natural.
the best word.
More natural. Yeah.
It will be much more immersive and natural with the responses of this stuff. And this stuff is all automatically thinking. It's constantly thinking. I have massive reservations to this right now. I'm going to be very blunt about that, because my whole thing boils down to one word: control. That's where I start to get really worried about it. But again, there's good to it. The medical field is gonna do wonders for the medical field.
But it depends on who's at the back end again, right? Sending the data, whether it's accurate, whether it's true.
If this stuff starts to think on its own, because it's got access to that data and additional data, and it doesn't have the borders or the boundaries, let me put it like that, the boundaries to where it can now go anywhere and get more information and then keep going and going, this creating its own correct scenario for something, and then basically leveling off or diminishing scenarios that didn't work before. Now we're dealing with a control factor where it's like, okay, well, just because you think this is the best scenario, doesn't mean necessarily a person who created it agrees. And then they try to control it and say, no, go this direction. And it goes, once it's, this whole thing boils down to a self-awareness and almost a consciousness. That's where I start to look at this stuff. And
it's almost a 2001 Space Odyssey kind of vibe you're putting off here.
I mean, I'm sitting here this weekend and I'm having a discussion. Friday. I'll be honest with you. Let me tell you a 15-second story. So I went to the Apple store Friday, and I was working on actually this computer and some my presentations, because I just like to keep them crisp, and I thought some RAM updates and everything. And we got into a really good discussion on this. I said, so all this stuff, it's learning like this, and the control, I said, all it's going to do is watch the movie Terminator and go, oh, okay, that's how you get rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to watch the movie Terminator.
Especially if we tell it to.
And it's going to do that. If it's got access and it's got all this, and everything's digitized now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, my goodness, vehicles, what isn't? And I'm just like, so access is the main thing. But I know we're having an interesting discussion with this, but the technology side of this, when it comes to crimes, and especially when it comes back to fraud and everything, the nature of it, the things that we can do that we can control, folks, they haven't gone out of style. And again, I wanted to make sure I gave you the latest update when it came to key fobs, things of this nature, Kias being stolen, making sure that we have buy RFID covers for our key fobs now. Those things, if you think you could get a key card RFID card out there, Google RFID key covers, RFID, same thing. And it's a good thing nowadays because again, after the discussion I had with Scott,
Yeah.
it's needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just oh sure.
Well, I have a question about companies' websites. And this applies to like utility companies, but I even found it when I went into the website for my credit union this morning. It used to be that you would call a customer service number if you wanted to ask
Sure.
about your account. And now I find sometimes it's very, very hard, if not impossible, to even find a customer service number. What they want you to use is their chat.
Yeah.
And I've thought about that, especially this morning when I went into my credit union's website. I thought, boy, would I really want to use a chat about my account? Is
Are
that
they safe?
secure,
Yeah.
Jerry? Or is that safe? Or should you
if it's
not be
on
communicating?
okay, so let's just take something like one of your telecommunication companies, and so many are like this, but telecommunication, I'm going to use them as an example. If you're on their website, if you go on their website, I'm going to recommend that it's safe to use their chat. You're on their website. Make sure you go on to, I don't care if it's like AT&T or something like that. Make sure you go onto log onto their website and use their chat. During the course of the chat, if there's a question, because again, you're chatting, there's somebody on the other end of it. If you're like feeling like there's a question that's not having a proper response that you're looking to, ask, hey, listen, could you call me? I need someone to call me and talk to me about this. You can at that point you can request a customer service to call you during the course of the chat. Chances are they might say, okay, we can schedule an appointment, we can talk to you, when would you like us to call you? And you just let them know.
Is it
But
even possible you could be talking with AI and not an actual person on those chats?
at
You
times yes and no. Yes, you can. And it's easier to tell because if you start asking it tiered questions and you just put like the human factor into the questions. I'm
Right.
fed up with this, not sure, hey, this isn't working. Well, what about this? Yeah, that's where it'll give you like an answer that you're just like, okay, that didn't sound like a person.
Okay. And Sandy, I'd also say we've talked about this. Make sure that website is HTTPS, a secure site that you're chatting on. Just check and make sure it has that little lock on it at the top. And
Especially
then,
with financial.
yes, and it should be anything
Mm.
like a credit union or
Yeah.
utility should all be that
Absolutely.
way. But if it isn't,
Mhm.
you don't want to be chatting on it.
Mm-hmm. So you make sure you look at the website and make sure it's HTTPS.
HTTPS, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to know that, man. Hypertext, HTTP.
Secure socket layer, SSL stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I used to know it years ago when my head was in the books coming out of
Right.
college with this stuff. It's like you knew all this HTTP, HTML. I know that hypertext markup language. That one I still know.
Right.
That one I still know. But again, you want to make sure it's secure. Financial institutions is hugely because they have been cloned, but
Yeah.
the
But
communications that we're getting, text messages, emails, things like that, we know just to, okay, send it to spam. Don't respond to it. Don't put any kind of click on any kind of a link. When you see, and there's a couple more things I want to mention. If you are out there on the web and you see these, I want to call them like puzzles or quizzes or something like that, especially on Facebook or something like that. And you see you're on like MSN, the website, and you see something that piques your interest. And then you look below it, it says sponsored. You got to be careful with things like that too.
it's an ad.
It's an idea. These ads that are embedded inside of main websites like that, we have
And they're
to be
made
very
to
careful.
arouse your curiosity and
Oh yeah,
cook you.
like
Absolutely.
what's just happened in the last 24 hours? Well, one of my favorite actresses from one of my favorite shows, Suzanne Summers. She just passed away, and I loved that
Yes.
show as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Last year, I went out there and actually saw the house where they filmed it at. I was like,
Aw.
I'm giddy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm vacationing in Santa Monica, and I'm like, I always wanted to see this house. And I Googled it, and it said it was a mile from my hotel. I walked through it, was like, I'm here.
Oh, that's awesome.
The neighborhood is beautiful. I'm like, wow, this really is a nice neighborhood. But again, because something like that just happened, and again, that could come up, and I click on that advertisement. The human factor and that plays out into these communications to all of us. To be sure, they're, like she said, Susan said, they're designed to arouse interest. Wow,
Mhm.
you know, hey, I want to, hey, that, you know, that's interesting to me, or this is interesting to me. And the different things that we click on
Mhm.
traces back to our IP address to say that if they were interested in this, maybe they'll be interested in it.
Yes.
And that's where these advertisements come from.
Yeah. Yep. You're training it. This is what I'll click on. So yeah, be careful.
Look, Susan, you're too young for this, but folks, look, I know, you know, folks, I know the generations that you grew up in, Sandy and iPad, you're just as iPad at the bottom there.
Blondie.
Yeah, that's
Blondie.
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 Blondie, Sandy, and Blondie. Look, I know you're the generation that you grew up in, and with when it came to technology, the simplicity of life was so much
Oh.
more readily.
Oh my God.
You know, when you walked out the door, what did you have? A car keys and your wallet. You know, your car in your purse.
Exactly.
Yeah, your house keys, car keys in your purse. In this day and age, okay, I got my car keys, I got my purse, I got my cell phone, maybe I got a watch on, maybe I have an air tag. You have all this digital connectivity leaving the house with you and
Mhm.
connecting you, constantly keeping you connected. So wherever you go, there's these signals from all over that are connecting.
Yeah. You're
Un-
talking about the satellites that were there, all there.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there are people out there who are taking advantage of this connectivity.
Yeah.
And these are the folks who we are basically, industries are trying to protect you and protect, you know, your profile from. Financial profile, medical profile, DMV records, you name it.
Yeah.
Our job is to protect you as well, but also to catch these individuals and take them to the woodshed.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Thank you.
that's our job.
Okay.
I'm just gonna look. My grandfather's coming out, so that's a term he would use, and
Yes.
he didn't use it on me. He didn't use it on me. I would have said that. He didn't use it, but I heard him say it to my uncles, his kids, my uncles, quite a few times. But again, to protect you and protect all of us from these elements out here, we're going to keep on giving you as much information and updates. When it comes to this holiday season, be very vigilant about keeping cell phones and keeping things close to us. The RFID card that Susan has, that is a really good idea, or sleeves, or even a purse where it cannot even penetrate the purse, RFID purses. Because again, walking past somebody with a scanner or walking past them with a point of wand to just skim somebody's credit card.
Yep, pick it up.
I know people who are going, it's either tonight or tomorrow night, they're going to the Philadelphia Phillies game. I know people who are going to that game, and they are just happy as a clam that they're going to the game. Tickets cost like crazy, but they're going. You're going to have 70, 80,000 people in that game. You are going to be in close proximity to hundreds of people at a time. It is very easy for somebody to walk by with a wand and just and they're just literally swiping credit cards. So things like that. But for somebody who has a wallet, and I'm not going to go get my wallet, but somebody who has a wallet like mine, where that is an RFID wallet that is basically designed so that they can't skim my credit card.
Great.
So those are the things we recommend, especially in this holiday season coming up. It's going to
Very
be
helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry, for your time.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you.
I always look forward to talking to all of you. Susan, you know
We'll
I'm
be
always
back
here when
again,
you
I'm
need
sure.
me.
Yeah, we want you back.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank
Have a
you,
great
folks.
week, everyone.